Read the legal disclaimer before proceeding.
Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Nika. It's time for another Tea Talk, aka Nika's News. Alright, so before I get started, I hope you paid attention to the legal disclaimer. Everyone is considered innocent until proven guilty. Alright, let's go ahead and get started here. So first off, I'm going to give you a trio today. Talk about 3 different people, okay? All in North Carolina. Crazy. The first case hits a little different for me because it's from my hometown, Mount Olive, North Carolina. Okay? Where I'm from. So first off, her name is Miss Destiny Lachey Compton, 23 years old, from Mount Olive, North Carolina. Okay? She has been charged in connection with the alleged sexual abuse of her 2-year-old daughter. Now, that right there already got my blood boiling. You know why? I have a 2-year-old daughter. I have a 3-year-old son. And ain't no way I'm going to be letting anybody do anything to my kids. Even at daycare, I'm already kind of like high alert. She come home with a scratch on her arm. I'm like, yo, where you get the scratch from? Who did this? How this happened? My son have any signs or anything in between his ear. He read it all. Why you read? What happened? I needs to know. So for this girl to let her boyfriend do something to her 2-year-old daughter and she know about it. Right. I ain't got no words, okay? Anyway, so she has been charged with felony child abuse, sexual act, and negligent child abuse. And her bond was set at $27,000. She has been released on bond. So they didn't really say if it was secured or unsecured, but she's already out. She's been released. And, it's not been made public on any type of court appearances or anything like that due to the whole situation. Okay, so she has been released on bond. The allegations, again, involve knowingly permitting her boyfriend to abuse her 2-year-old child. And the boyfriend has not been publicly released or identified. Okay, so we don't have no information on him, no name, no date of birth, no occupation, nothing has been released by the courts or in any type of police reports. So, due to the involvement of the whole case, the situation is under investigation. So, they're not making a lot of things public right now. So, it's kind of hard to find things, but I'm definitely going to be following this story. But anyway, just kind of getting back on the whole topic at hand. Now, I got some questions for you guys. How you feel about this? When it comes to your own kids, how do you respond to something like this? When you hear something like this happen to a child, how do you respond? And then when you think about it, a lot of people out here in the world are praying to have kids, begging have kids, going and having all these surgeries and procedures to have kids. And yet again, this young lady gets pregnant with this child at the age of 21. And the baby is pretty much 2 years old now. And she's letting somebody molest her baby. Like, where they do that at? Really. Because it's just like, I ain't letting nobody get close to my kids. And like I say, to do stuff to them that you've been wanting these kids forever. And even if you didn't want your baby, why allow that? You know what I mean? You could have gave your baby up for adoption. You could have did something differently, and then it's a little girl. You're supposed to be defending her, protecting her, watching her, caring for her, loving her. Even if it was a little boy, he deserves love too. You know what I mean? It don't matter if it's a boy, if it's a girl, whatever. It don't matter the situation. They deserve love. They deserve respect. They deserve to be comforted and feel welcome. You know what I mean? And that's why kids grow up today and they out here killing people. They out here doing things. They're out here. They don't feel loved. They don't feel respected. They don't feel wanted or needed. So, they doing things to other people. I don't know if Miss Destiny was abused or something or neglected in her home to make her do what she did. But to allow your boyfriend to do something like that to your child, that That just don't sit right with my spirit. You know what I mean? That don't sit right with me. Anyway, so moving on, I want you guys to go ahead and comment down below in regards to this situation. How do you feel about Miss Destiny Compton? She's guilty, in my opinion. Like I said, legal disclaimer, this is just my opinion, okay? But I don't know the whole situation. We don't know the whole situation. And we don't know anything about her boyfriend. We don't know what led up to this. But I'm hoping and praying she ain't guilty. I'm hoping and praying she did not do anything like that to her child or let anybody do that to her child and she knew about it. You know, who knows? Who's to say if she watched? Who's to say if she was sitting in the living room eating ice cream and she just let her child go in the room with a boyfriend? I mean, who? Like, all kinds of things. You'd be like, what in the world? How did this even happen? You know what I mean? So again, you know, I'm hoping she ain't guilty. I'm hoping she ain't. You know, who knows? But guys, go ahead and tell me what you think about this because we getting ready to go ahead and sip some more tea real quick, okay? Let's get to sipping. I ain't talking about no tea. We need to take a for this right here, okay? Moving on to the next topic. Let's get to it. This next topic here hits a little different as well. Now, you wonder why people don't go to church, why they want to stay home, why they want to read the Bible from behind closed doors is what I should be doing because you go to church, you think you're finding what you're looking for, as is the Holy Spirit, God, but you're finding demons. You're running into people who really probably don't know God as well as you think they do. Anyway, so the next one is Mr. Elijah Rouse, 41 years old, from Kinston area. All right, so he has been accused with first-degree forcible rape, first-degree kidnapping, and assault by pointing a firearm. So he was arrested July the 7th of 2025, and he's currently in the Pitt County Detention Center with no bond. No bond, okay? So who knows if he's guilty or if he's innocent? Who knows? But when you think about this, he was a locally known pastor, okay? He currently was working at the Holloway Recreation Center in Kinston as a supervisor at that. And now you have been accused of all of the above. You know, everything I just mentioned, you've been accused of. First degree rape. Okay? Kidnapping. And assault with a deadly firearm. And it's crazy because I personally know the guy. You know, we have been to church with him and his family. And it's just like, the people you think you know, you do not know. You know, who would have known that eventually he would have came out in the news with a situation like this? You know what I mean? And you never know. I hope he's innocent. Because, you know, maybe he just, you know, got caught up in a relationship with this woman. And, you know, maybe it just backfired on him and she's accusing him of rape because maybe it just didn't turn out the way she wanted it to be. You just never know. You don't know his side, her side, their side, nobody's side. You really don't know the truth, you know, and you just don't know what happened. I mean, of course, he is currently married, has a family of his own right now. And supposedly this girl, you know, you don't know if they was in a relationship, if she was a side piece, or if he actually just found some chick at his job or somebody that he thought was looking good to him and, you know, he had to get her somehow. You just don't know. But to just think about all the things that's going on, you just like, what in the world? And you know, he was a cool guy when I knew him. You know, he was a bad piano player. Like, you know, had you up in the church. Hey. You know what I mean? And that's probably what, you know, what attracted these women to him because he was bad at what he did. You know what I mean? He was bad. And then, you know, hey, and his mom was a preacher, a pastor. You know, I loved her. You know, had our choir booming. Had the choir booming. I mean, yes. You know, I was up in there like, what church y'all moving to? Because, of course, they left the church and went to another church. So we no longer had her as a pastor. But at that time, I was young. I couldn't follow her. You know, I wasn't even really, I was a teenager, but I was still in school. I ain't had no place to stay. I was living with my parents and stuff like that. I'm grown now, of course. So it's like you get older and you're like, wow, wow. That's just crazy to find this out. But, we will see. But of course, the city of Kinston has placed Rouse on administrative leave as of now. And like I said before, he is currently in Pitt County Detention Center with no bond. And nothing has really been released as of yet. I will show you something here that I did find on the Pitt County Detention Center in a few minutes. But that's about all that they have public knowledge of. So take a look at this real quick.
Of Grifton, where a man is now behind bars facing a rape charge. 41-year-old Elijah Rouse was arrested by Grifton police last night for a first-degree forcible rape that warrants say happened on July 7th. Now, warrants also say Rouse had taken a woman against her will, raped and sexually assaulted her, and intentionally pointed a black handgun at her. He's also being charged with kidnapping and assault by pointing a gun. Now, Rouse was taken to the Pitt County Jail and was not given bond.
Pitt County charge details on Elijah Lee Rouse, age 41. It is currently showing all of his information, including his charges. Such as first-degree forcible rape, felony, assault by pointing a gun, a misdemeanor, and kidnapping. It is showing a $200,000 secured bond.
All right. So at this time, only one female victim has come forward. So they only identified one female victim right now, which of course, not public knowledge who this female is. But I'm going to keep a lookout on everything going on, and I'm going to keep you guys updated if anything else comes available. Okay. So moving on to the next tea topic. All right, so this is my last and final tea talk for today. So I don't know if it's like family offense day or what is in the air. I don't know what's in the air. Anyway, so the next person we're going to be talking about is Mr. Terrence Lester Gray, 39 years old, from Goldsboro, North Carolina. And of course, this story hits different as well because why? He's related to someone in my family. I'm just like boom, boom, bam, bam, wham, wham. Okay? So Mr. Gray is accused of physical abusing a disabled person in his care. Where he currently worked, this is what he's accused of. 2 counts of felony assault on an individual with disabilities. 1 count of misdemeanor assault on an individual with disabilities. And 1 count of communicating threats. So, let that speak for itself. And he was a former employee at a Wayne County group home in Goldsboro, North Carolina. He was arrested this month, July of 2025. And he's currently in the Wayne County Detention Center as well, on bond. He has to pay $5,000 in cash in order to be released. Or he could get a bail bondsman. And, I don't know how that works. But hey, somebody will figure it out. But anyway, and it's just like, and one thing I can say about this, I'm conflicted on the whole topic because I know when you work with people with disabilities and elderly people, sometimes they are combative. Sometimes, you run into just the wrong ones. I physically have worked in a mental hospital. I have been beat up in a mental hospital. And it was my job to take care of them. But when they're beating you up, assaulting you, clocking you in the titties and stuff like that, and boom, I'm supposed to do what? Get beat up and not fight back? I guess that's when you cross the line and you quit. You don't want to be fired, and definitely not fired when they say you did something to them, but Sometimes you got to reevaluate your life and say, do I need my sanity? Do I need this paycheck? Goodbye. And that's when you walk on out the door. But of course, for this, they say they were disabled. So I'm not sure if they were disabled or mental, capacity or what. But for you to, physically abuse them, maybe they, couldn't defend themselves and you're in there beating them up, stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to, just wrap my mind around that kind of stuff because you just don't know. And it's crazy. This is the world we living in today. The world we living in, and it's crazy that all these situations that I just reported today, have happened in July 2025 in the same area, North Carolina. Very close together. Mount Olive, Goldsboro, Kinston. Literally just crazy. I ain't even got much to say about him because it's just like, it is what it is. It speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. I'm going to go ahead and show you an image of him real quick.
According to the Sheriff's Office of Wayne County, former group home employee arrested on assault charges against a disabled adult. Here are the arrest details. Terrence Lester Gray, age 39, a black male, was undergoing investigation, and after the investigation, they contacted the sheriff's office on June 24th of 2025. The charges are 2 counts for felony assault, 1 count of misdemeanor assault on individual with disabilities and communicating threats. Gray was arrested and is being held on a $5,000 secured bond.
And due to the whole situation being fairly new, there's not a lot of information posted online about this situation either. So you can't follow anything, you can't find anything, no police reports, no court date releases or anything like that. So it is what it is, but I'm going to stay on the lookout for it, and I'm going to let you guys know what else comes available. But I want you guys to go ahead and comment down below on all 3 of these tea talks that we talked about today, okay? Let's go ahead and sip the tea. Because it's just like, it is what it is. Like, too much stuff has been coming about. And it's just like, I don't know if people are losing their mind. What's going on? You know what I mean? And then it's like, it's so hard to find a job. And then you get a job and you lose your job behind stuff like this. You know what I mean? 2 individuals I talked about today have lost their job. Yeah. Behind what they wanted to do. So, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Please like and subscribe to Nika's Tea Talks, aka Nika's News. And we're going to be back for more in the near future. Take it easy, it's been real.